everyone, so we have another transformation video. So this is about 2 weeks from our last one that was called the Filthy Five. So you'll notice the title of this video is a tragic trio, and that's because these dolls are kind of related to the dolls that we got last time in the Salvation Army. So we're going to show you the dolls and how we clean them up, and I hope you enjoy. So I was super duper excited to find Nightmare. This is Headless Headmistress Bloodgood's horse, for those of you that don't know. She still has the bridle, the saddle, and the hair is actually in pretty decent shape despite being nylon.
I love the colors.
I know, beautiful colors. I remember seeing this in stores when it first came out. Then we have Coffin Bean Claudine. So, see all of these price tags? I got her outfit on my Skull Shores Claudine that was in the last video, if you remember. And that's part of why this is linked to the previous transformation.
My guess is that she was somewhere buried. Last time we didn't see her.
Because the toy section was blown apart, and this time it was a lot more put together. She has strong legs, so she's one of the older Monster High dolls.
We dressed her in layers to take her home.
Yes, and
she was wearing this, and then we
added some things. This was actually on another one of the dolls. She was a Fashionista Sporty, and I have that doll. She was one of my older Fashionistas I got in 2014, secondhand, and I recognize this outfit and I've been looking for it forever, so I'm sorry to the Fashionistas doll that I borrowed it off of. But honestly, whenever we find scraps of clothing, we kind of layer up, as you can see on Laguna over there. But before we get to Laguna, this is Creepateria Draculaura. I think we mentioned in the last transformation video, unless I edited it out, that there was a Draculaura there that was not wearing Monster High clothes, that had no hands. And I saw her again this week, and I just can't resist. She's really unique looking, and I love the Creepateria line. I really regret not getting Cleo when she was in stores especially.
And we have hands somewhere downstairs for her, so.
Look at the hair, ugh. So she also, I put her in another shirt. And then we have Dance Class Laguna, who Colleen actually identified kind of on the spot. So she's really, really basic looking, and I was very confused as to which one she could be. I was pretty sure I didn't have this doll, but we actually used the data on my phone while we were there.
To compare to Shelly's doll.
Yeah, I went on my Flickr just to double check because I didn't want to buy like a doll I already had. But she is wearing a Scaris fashion pack. We just found this Merida dress in the section, and I don't have many spare Brave clothes. In fact, I only have an Eleanor dress. So, and for a long time we had a Merida doll that did not have any Brave clothes to wear.
Yeah, so we're like, oh yeah, we gotta hoard the Brave.
So she's in really bad shape. So the lighting's not the best today, but they have a lot of grub on them.
Oh, and in case you're wondering, the cashier ignored all the individual price tags and just, like, called it $3 for everything.
Yeah, $2.99. So, and you can see, like, they were all, I think, about $1 each originally, so we saved $1. And that's why last time we got all of it for, what, $2.99? Too?
$1.99.
Oh, really? You got it for cheaper?
$1.99, yeah.
I think I put it wrong on one of
I
the fun
fixed your
facts.
description.
Thank you. I figured you would. So the next step is going to be to do laundry. We have our laundry tub already. I already have my thing set up.
So just a heads up, I never wash doll clothes in hot water unless it's something white that needs to be bleached, because that will cause the dyes to bleed and stain the clothes potentially.
So I'm going to pull off all these price tags first. Poor Claudine. She's been labeled with many. Also, a little tip for doll ID. The reason why we usually identify the dolls in their grubby state and not their clean state, but the reason I do it when they're dirty and when they have like hair elastics and stuff in is because it's like being a crime scene investigator. There's evidence here, you can throw that away, on the dolls. So like Draculaura had her hair in these two little ponytails, Claudine had her hair in one ponytail, Laguna has this little teeny ponytail that I'm keeping in. So that was like evidence to suggest who they might be, whereas like sometimes when you wash dolls, their hair elastics will pop or you have to take them out. So by even though you'd think it would be harder when the doll is scary looking, it keeps their hairstyle intact, especially if you boil wash a doll with Kanekalon hair. Any wave they had, it's gonna go away, chances are. So it's best to keep them with any possible evidence that could lead you to what they are. Even sometimes just having them in the outfit they were in, if you suspect it might be their original.
Yeah.
If it's a really generic looking Barbie, you can put that in one thing. It's just helpful. That's what I do. So a lot of people who ask me to help them identify their dolls, if you take a good enough picture and you make sure like the hair is not all up in their face, it's actually easier for me to identify your doll when they're in their like original grotesque secondhand state. I'll start with Laguna because her face is the dirtiest, and also because her hair will be the easiest to comb out because she's got the shortest hair and the thinnest hair. And usually I tend to start with the like easiest dolls, just because it gets them out of the way quicker. Because by the time you get to some of the more difficult dolls, your hands are wrinkly, your hands are sore from the constant brushing.
Plus, I do better with easy dolls.
Right, so I usually start with the easy ones because it takes combing longer.
You do need to be careful with some of these newer Mattel dolls because their face paint can chip off if they weren't painted correctly at the factory.
I love Dance Class Laguna. I remember ogling her in Walmart so many times and almost walking out with her.
Yeah, this was one of the lines that was really prevalent in stores when I got into collecting in like the spring of 2013. And I was especially interested in the basic dolls because they were less than $15, and at Walmart they were usually like 12 or 13.
Yeah.
So
We got Scary Savvy for like 10 at Walmart.
yeah, and I found they were just as nice quality as the $20 ones, because the $20 ones, like the Scare dolls, just came with suitcases. I almost bought like a ton of the dance class dolls many times over, and then when the pack came out, remember how we actually went to Target one day to buy that pack? But that was when I was trying to get better at shopping and I talked myself out of it.
Yeah.
A lot of people wanted the pack for Gil, and I'll admit that that was definitely one of the contributing factors, but most of all I wanted Rochelle, because Rochelle is one of my favorites. I love Rochelle. She was my very first like $20 Monster High doll I bought.
Yeah.
She was the 4th or 5th doll in my collection. I can't remember if we went back to get Ghoulia at Kmart.
Oh yeah, fifth.
Did we double back? Yeah, I think we bought Ghoulia first, and
We
then
did.
we went to the Walmart and we got, yeah.
We got them the same day.
Yeah, within like an hour of each other.
So here I am washing my dolls with baking soda and dish soap, which is what I always use because it's simple, it's cheap, and it's very effective without using harsh chemicals. So if you're new here, that's what I'm using. That's what's in the little bowl in the background. That is just baking soda, and I use a toothbrush for my dolls. I buy a pack of them just for my dolls that are $1 each, and they usually last the flea market season.
Who is your favorite Monster High pet? Mine would have to be Julian, Venus's plant.
I think that's mine too, but I really like Neptune.
I was gonna say Neptuna. I had a dream about finding Neptuna at the Salvation Army on Friday night. You know, you're an avid Monster High fan when you're dreaming and fantasizing about finding their accessories.
If you're wondering what I use to wash hair, it's dish soap because it's antibacterial and the smell lasts longer than shampoo, and it also foams really nicely. Plus I'm using it to clean the bodies anyways. But I use whatever conditioner I have around for my own hair. Currently it's this tea tree stuff. I love the smell of tea tree. I wash the dolls twice, once to get rid of the debris and then a second time to actually clean the hair. And if they need a third shampoo, say their hair is really tangled, then I'll do that too. And then I'll just detangle with a wide tooth comb and a fine tooth comb to prevent hair from coming out.
I do have a tutorial on how to clean doll horses if you are interested. It's honestly very much the same way. It's actually a transformation video, not a tutorial. It's very much the same way they clean dolls. It's just more awkward.
If you're washing horses, just be careful not to let them soak too long because the slots their hair are rooted from can fill up with water and you don't want to get them moldy. Nightmare wasn't very dirty, so this wasn't an issue, but just keep that in mind when you're washing horses and be careful when detangling them because their hair can come out fast.
You know, I never really paid much attention to him and floors because I don't like the newer like horse molds that Mattel uses. But Nightmare isn't all like chunky looking like the Disney horses. He's got like, or she has very like pointy. Like, there was a lot of art that went into the molds here.
One thing I will say about conditioner brands is that the cheaper kinds can leave residue on your doll's hair, whereas the more expensive brands, not like super expensive, but that cost a little more, you need less because they're thicker. So when you're washing a lot of dolls, it can actually be more cost effective to use slightly more expensive conditioner, because I used to use like the dollar kind and I would go through it like crazy because it was very, very watered down. But it's really personal preference, whatever works for you.
So I'm gonna dunk Nightmare in first, and I actually think the Nightmare has like what I call My Little Pony nylon, so it's the softer nylon that basically responds to heat much like a Kineclon. So I'm not even gonna have to flat iron this, which is nice. And usually I will do the Kineclon hair dolls or the nylon hair dolls for the like My Little Pony nylon first, because they don't need as much like heat, like they don't need to sit in there. Obviously if the water's really bubbling, then I won't put them in, because Kineclon hair and like water that's actually boiling do not agree.
So if your doll's hair is wrinkling and waving, it's because the water is too hot and they have Kineclon hair. So just reboil wash them in a less hot temperature of water, and that should fix the problem. Don't worry, it's not ruined, it's not burned.
So we did in fact have extra sets of Dracula arms, so we didn't need to take our body donors' arms.
We actually bought those arms for the body donor because we got it with Alvaretta arms, so.
Yeah, I didn't realize when because she had a head. She had a pixie cut, so it was Dracula. So we bought her for like $1. Then I realized my mistake, but that's okay, Alvaretta hands. Okay, go on.
Check it out.
Yes.
So normally I don't let clothes that aren't super dirty soak too long. And these were in while we cleaned the dolls for a half hour, and then I rinsed them out with warm water because it's cold this time of year and I have Raynaud, so I don't want to freeze while I rinse them. And then we hung them up to dry. Obviously if they had really bad stains or smelled really bad, they would have stayed in the soak longer. And if your clothes are really stinky, borax is a great thing to use because it kills the odors really, really well with just one soak.
Okay, so I really didn't want to have to do a glue treatment, but Dracula is pretty sticky, but Laguna is so sticky.
You can actually see it stuck together.
Yeah, and it's getting on my hands. So I'm going to make an oxy treatment. I'm putting in a little less than half a scoop because this is a pretty big bowl, but I've learned from past experience that you do not want to put too much in, because in time, whatever kind of soaked into like the inside of the head will eventually kind of come out and it will leave a powdery residue. So it's really important not to do overkill. And some people don't want to like basically boil wash the doll at the same time as doing this because they don't want the hot water to coax out more glue, which, yeah, if your doll is loaded, that's what's going to happen. I mean, it's going to come out anyways eventually. So you can do this in cool water, but you'll want to mix it in warm water at least, and then let it cool off, because the OxiClean needs to dissolve right. So if you throw it in cold water, it's not going to dissolve right, so it's not going to be as effective.
Okay, so I spend several minutes combing this mixture through the hair to make sure it evenly distributes, and then I will leave it overnight, because for dolls especially that are this gluey, soaking it for a few hours isn't going to do anything. So this will allow glue to leak out of the head and then be dissolved by the OxiClean. And then I'll wash them really good and let them dry, and the gluey should be gone. Okay, so in this shot, I am putting away the clothes that we got on the dolls, like the Merida dress we don't need right now, and I'm also picking out Claudine's outfit that I got before at the Salvation Army, and also selecting an outfit for Draculaura, and a fashion pack for Laguna. You can see I baggy all my clothes. It makes it so easy to find dolls and dress them and to compare duplicated items.
So before I show you the final product of the new dolls, I thought I'd show you the old dolls who got clothes. So obviously this is Fashionista Sporty. I got her in 2014 from a lot we call the Fashionistas bin at the local flea market. So she was one of my oldest Fashionistas dolls, like one of my first. And I love her very much, and she's one of my personal favorites because I think she's really pretty. And I always wanted this outfit because it's just so my kind of thing for dolls. She is gorgeous and she loves it. It took a while to dry, but it smells really good now. And then you can see I have several Generation Girl Annas. So that's my childhood doll. That's the one I got in 2011 from the Generation Girl bin at the flea market. She is wearing my childhood girl's swimsuit. But this is the new swimsuit, which is in lovely shape. This Anna is from the Teresa lot of 2016. You guys would have seen that transformation video if you've been following me a long time. It's something about 70 Barbies. There's like a ton of them in the thumbnail, so she's one of the dolls from that lot. And this is beautiful, and I'm so glad to have it for her. Alright, so we have Nightmare, all squeaky clean. She wasn't really all that dirty. I call him a he, even though I'm pretty sure it's a girl. But the hair quality on this horse is really nice. Most horses have really low grade Kanekalon or nylon hair that frizzes, and at first I thought that that's what Nightmare had, but it's actually what I call My Little Pony nylon. So it feels a lot like Saran. It's very sleek and soft feeling, but it responds like Kanekalon in the boil wash. It tends to go pretty straight, so it's like a lighter weight Saran almost. It's really beautiful. I love these colors, and I just love the detailing of this horse. I'm so glad to have it in my collection, and the bridle and saddle are still on him, so that's really nice. And then we have Claudine, Coffin Bean Claudine. I do need to get her bracelet from downstairs because my Skull Shores lady from the Filthy Five transformation was wearing that, and I just haven't grabbed it yet. But she is gorgeous. I restyled her hair, and she just looks so much cleaner and so much happier, and she's glad to have her dress back. I will say she doesn't sit very well because her hips are strung and they don't have the plastic joints. So in like 2011, that's when they switched over from strung joints to plastic joints. So she's kind of one of the hybrid dolls. And then we have a Creepateria Draculaura. So I redid her hair, and this is a Day at the Mall outfit that I got on eBay. I actually have two of them. I got them both in a lot. She is really pretty, and I will say most Draculaura dolls are kind of silly looking, but she's really pretty, and she has these hands, as you saw us putting on earlier in the video. And then we have Dance Last Laguna, who is wearing, this is one of Colleen's favorite fashion packs. I got it at Barnes & Noble brand new, and she loves to put it on my Schools Out Laguna. And she is a lot cleaner. Her face was really trashed, and actually that little chip on her lip is barely noticeable now. I'm really glad I went back and got Draculaura because seeing how happy she looks now makes me happy. And as far as the glue on these two dolls, so Laguna, you can really see a difference, and you can really feel a difference. Their hair is both like a teeny bit damp still because I was impatient and I wanted to film this, but it's not like clumping, it's not sticky anymore. And Draculaura, she has like a little bit of tackiness still underneath her hair and like right at the hairline because of where her hair was originally styled. So the glue treatment, it's not foolproof. It's not like you can do it once on every single doll and soak them for a little bit and all the glue is going to go away. You have to keep in mind, like, if the doll is aggressively gluey and they're still actively leaking out, that you might have to do repetitive treatments. I did make sure to wash them really good after. I washed them 3 times each, and I combed the dish soap through their hair, and I did condition them too, which sometimes I don't, but I thought that might help because they were both pretty gluey. And it also helps if you wash them out in cold water if you don't want to make any leftover glue sticky again. But obviously, whatever's in their head, it's going to leak out. So you can take the head off and fill it up with OxyClean, and that will help it some. But some dolls have a ton of glue, so multiple sessions might be needed. That's why I don't do this to every single doll that has a little bit of glue. So Laguna, though, she was terrible. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. These dolls will already be pictured on my Flickr by the time you're seeing this. So you can check that out if you want. And until next time, love your dolls, love yourself, and love your life.